Hi friends, so yesterday I did a little thrift with me and it was an absolute flop. I didn't find a single thing. I went to 4 thrift stores back to back and nothing. However, I did end up trying some stuff on. It just didn't work out and I'll show some of that b-roll. I wanted to take the opportunity to give you my best thrifting tips. I've gotten a few requests for this in the past, so I'm like, why not? Let's make something positive out of something that bummed me out. Having flop days is pretty normal when it comes to thrifting. We can't all be as lucky as those girls who do the crazy hauls on TikTok, who probably live somewhere in like Ohio, because I feel like that's probably where all the good stuff is. Anyway, let's get right into the tips. I have them all on my phone here. My first tip is to be patient because it can take months up to a year to find a piece that you're looking for. I just want to normalize it for everyone, especially if you live in bigger cities. I feel like it's a lot more competitive and difficult to find those pieces that you might have on your thrift wish list. I think it's a lot more exciting when you finally find the piece that you've been looking for, rather than just taking the easy way out and buying it on Depop or Poshmark or something like that. I feel like if you find it at the thrift, you get bragging rights and just like a different sense of satisfaction. Obviously, if it's a piece that you need right away for like a, I don't know, wedding or something like that, or a party that's really special to you, by all means, go the online route. The next tip is extremely important, and that is to know your style. And I don't mean like you have to know your style to a T or have your personal style all figured out, but you need to have somewhat of an idea of the aesthetic that you're trying to dress like, or your preferences as far as like your favorite colors to wear, your favorite textures, things like that. I recommend this to everyone, and that is creating a Pinterest mood board. You can pin outfits that you're into, you can pin shoes, accessories, whatever it is that catches your eye, and I guarantee you'll probably end up finding like a theme. I've had people tell me like, I don't get it. I go to the thrift store and I never find anything, or like, I don't know what I'm looking for, right? And I always recommend this to them. Just download the app, start pinning stuff. You can even create themes with your boards like summer, fall, winter. That's what I like to do. I'll put my Pinterest down below if you guys need a little inspiration. My next tip is to always have a thrift wish list and do a little checkbox next to it so that when you find the piece, you get to check it off and it's so satisfying. I recommend pulling up your list every time before you enter the thrift store. Do a little look over real quick just to refresh your memory, kind of like have it in your mind when you're looking through the racks. My current wish list has low-rise striped trousers, mid-rise baggy shorts, a red baby tee, tankini or vintage bikini, low-rise skirt, 2000s dresses in polka dot, and kitten heels. And I found none of those things. But I'm still gonna keep looking. I'm not giving up yet. My next tip is to lower your expectations. You are not gonna find the exact piece that you have pinned on your Pinterest board unless you're God's favorite. I'm not saying it never happens, but it's pretty rare. And in my opinion, it's much cooler to find a piece that's similar to the one that you're looking for, not exact, because then you end up having a one-of-a-kind piece. The next one's pretty obvious, but I feel like I've even messed this up sometimes, and that is just to wear a comfy outfit that you can easily get in and out of. So that could be like a leotard, biker shorts, and a big t-shirt. For example, what I wore at the thrift store yesterday, that shirt is easy to get out of. Those pants too. I didn't even need to take my shoes off to take my pants off and put stuff over because the Converse are like really slim. As far as bags, I'd recommend some sort of messenger bag, kind of like crossbody bag that's hands-free. It's not gonna get in your way. I've worn like tiny little purses just to look cute at the thrift store, and it keeps slipping off my shoulder. Not worth it, trust me. The next step is to eat and drink water beforehand. Trust me, you do not want to be raw dogging the thrift store. You will lose your patience. You'll probably get a headache from the fluorescent lighting. Even have extra snacks in your bag too, and sanitizer, because you do not want to be reaching into your snacks with your dirty ass hands. No thank you. Obviously, headphones help a lot. I wouldn't have them on full blast though, because sometimes, let's be real, the thrift store can be a little shady and you want to be aware of your surroundings still. I find music so helpful as I'm sorting through all the racks. It's honestly therapeutic for me. My next tip is to leave no stone unturned. Look everywhere. Trust me, like it pays off. Look in the racks next to the fitting rooms, look in the men's section, even the kids section. I found some really cute baby tees in the little boy section before. Look in the men's shoes, the women's shoes. And if you're very lucky that day, you'll come across someone's stash that they just left randomly at the end of a rack. I love when this happens. And I pay it back and do the same. Every time I get out of the fitting room, I'll have my cute little pile of clothes that I'm not taking, but I know some fashionable girly will appreciate finding my little stash. My next step is to look for color and texture rather than every single item on the rack. I personally cannot go through every single t-shirt like individually. My arm will fall off and I'll just get annoyed, honestly. Literally what I'll do is I will zip through those racks so fast and just look for my color palette and textures. And the more you thrift, the better you'll get at this, like especially with jeans. Just by feeling them, I can just tell if I'm gonna like them or not. If they're like that stiffer, good quality denim, I pick it up. If it feels like that really cheap, I don't even know, like Forever 21 stretchy denim, nope, I don't even touch it. Again, this is why it's important to figure out your personal style a little bit beforehand and like create a mood board so you'll know like not to even bother with certain colors that you're not going to wear, certain textures, you know what I mean? My next tip is for vintage lovers out there, and that is to look for intricate tags rather than printed tags. This usually means that a piece is older or vintage and higher quality because unfortunately as the years have gone on, the quality of our clothes has gone down. Also, if you're looking at t-shirts, look out for single stitch. My next tip is to remember that sizes will vary, so don't limit yourself and only look in the section with your modern size. For example, I'm a size 28 in women's jeans, 28 to 29, and a medium to large. But in vintage clothing, I could wear anywhere from a 10 to a 12. So don't limit yourself, and if you want, take the time to figure out what your vintage sizing is. I'm sure you could just Google it, size 8 in 90s clothing, or in early 2000s, or I don't know, 70s clothing, and you'll see how much it varies. Like, it's crazy, honestly. My next tip is for when you find a piece that you're absolutely obsessed with and it like almost fits, you know what I mean? Like, say you find a dress that zips up and like you can't breathe in, but you're like, I will die if I can't have this dress. Google Lens it. Trust me. If you don't know already, on Google Lens, you're able to take a picture of a piece and it'll show up with whoever has it available online, whether that be Depop, Poshmark, Etsy. And the best thing about it is you can add to the search. So you could be like, blah, blah, blah dress in size 8, blah, blah, dress or shoes in size 7. My next tip is to know your measurements and bring measuring tape. When you have your measuring tape, you could just put it up to a pair of pants or a skirt or whatever it is, especially if your thrift stores don't have fitting rooms, is absolutely essential. I would at least know my bust, hips, and waist. Oh, and also the rise. Say if you love the rise of certain shorts that you have or jeans that you have, measure that and then compare it to jeans at the thrift store so that you know where the jeans are gonna sit on your body. Very helpful. My next tip is to always look for damage, especially on purses, shoes, any clothes. Look for missing buttons, stains. Look for peeling on leather, especially on faux leather shoes or leather shoes. Even like trying them on, they look all crunchy and crusty, like don't even bother. Those shoes are about to fall apart on you. A little side tip I just thought of is to bring Tide to go with you. Sometimes you'll see a stain on a shirt or something, you're like, damn, I think I could get that out. So what you can do is take a little Tide to go on it and then see if the stain comes out, and I think that'll give you a clear answer. It's something I need to start doing that I don't, so we're learning together. My next tip is to go to your nearest small town. I swear, small towns have the best stuff. And not to knock small towns, but let's be honest, like the smaller the town, the less fashionable usually the population is. It's just how it goes. What that means for us out-of-towners is that they usually have more gems or like the cuter stuff. It's where I found some of my cutest pieces throughout the years. When you thrift in bigger cities like LA or San Francisco sucks as far as thrifting. Don't get mad at me. Like, I don't know, I have never really had luck thrifting in San Francisco. Vintage shopping though, that's a different story. It's just a lot more competitive. There's probably a lot more resellers in bigger cities. My next tip is to thrift during the weekday and early at opening if possible. That's usually when they restock things in the store. There's less people, less competition, so it just makes sense. Unfortunately, I'm not always able to do this, so if you absolutely can't thrift during the weekday because you work, Monday through Friday, I would suggest do Sunday. I've had a lot more luck Sunday. I can't explain why. Just trust me on that one. My next tip is do not go on sale days, especially if you're newer at thrifting. You'll never want to come back. It's crowded, loud. I've heard some gossip about thrift stores being shady on sale days. For example, they'll say like yellow tags are 50% off today. And sometimes the workers are told to remove a lot of the yellow tags so they can still meet their quotas. I'm just not a fan of going on sale days, to be honest. My next tip is to be very firm on yourself. If something doesn't fit quite right, it's not your color, the texture is itchy or scratchy, just leave it. Trust me, like I've made this mistake so much throughout the years. I have finally gotten better at this. I no longer buy a piece if it's like the right silhouette but not the right color, because it just ends up sitting in my closet. This next tip is an exception to the last tip. Do go ahead and get something if it needs a slight change or a slight hem or something like that. I'm personally really bad at this, and I just won't even bother if I know I need to hem something or take it to the tailor. My partner is great at this. He likes his button-ups a little bit more cropped, so he takes them to his favorite tailor. Maybe I should just make him take my stuff, huh? Then I have to like go in person, get measured and the whole thing. Too much work. My next tip is to not sleep on the homeware section. The mugs, the pottery. I found some beautiful glassware, mugs, home decor there before. I'll show you guys a picture of my little table that I have in the hallway. It's a beautiful piece. Got it for like 20 bucks at Goodwill. And honestly, it's just fun. I love looking at little trinkets. The last and final tip I wish I would have done sooner, and that is just to pin your favorite thrift stores on Google Maps. You can even write little mini reviews on them like I do. So for instance, you can write like, at this Goodwill, they have a great selection of vintage dresses. Or at this Goodwill, the worker said that they stock on Tuesdays. You know what I mean? If you have a bad memory like me and you don't take notes, all the Goodwills, all the thrift stores will just like all mesh together in your brain, and you'll forget which ones are your favorites, which ones suck or whatever, and you'll end up wasting your time, which none of us want. Also, it's really handy for when like friends or family ask you, because most likely they know that you're the thrifter of your group. I've even had friends ask me like, hey, my friend wants to go thrifting. Do you have your favorite thrift stores, or do you know where the best thrift stores are at? And I have my little list, and I just copy and paste and text it to them, and I don't know, it's really nice. Those are all the tips I have for you guys today. Let me know if you learned any new tips from this list, or just add your own in the comments if you're already an avid thrifter. I know for sure this will help newer thrifters. Hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you want to keep seeing my face. I hope you guys have a lovely week. Bye.